G'day and welcome to the 27th episode of the Sports Geek Podcast. It's summer here in Australia. That means cricket season. England's here to take on Australia in the Ashes, and we take a look at the new Cricket Australia mobile app. Where does audio fit in? And YouTube, is it just for viral hits?
Welcome to the Sports Geek Podcast, the podcast built for the sports digital marketer. And now, here's your host, who still takes IT support calls from his parents, Sean Callanan.
Thanks, DJ Joel, and thank you very much for downloading. Over 9,000 downloads that we've had for the podcast, 26 episodes I've done so far. So effectively, I've hit the half-year mark. So it's a bit of a 6-month milestone. Just some stats on the stats themselves. 20% of those downloads are from iTunes. So there's obviously a lot of Mac users out there, and 52% from Apple Core Media, which is what Libsyn, which is where I host the podcast, recorded as, and that's effectively the podcast app. So even though I've jumped across to Android, there's obviously a fair chunk of you that are still using iTunes because they're all on Apple, and iTunes definitely is driving a stack of traffic to the podcast. One thing that is helping is the reviews that people are leaving and the fact that you are playing it in iTunes. So if you want to leave a review, I'd very much appreciate it. Simply go to sportsgeekhq.com/iTunes and you'll go to the iTunes store and you can leave a quick review. I do read them all and I'm very thankful. On today's show, talk cricket with Francis Leach on ABC Grandstand, look at the new Cricket Australia app and what they're doing in India with Twitter, with the Thank You Sachin initiative around the retirement of Sachin Tendulkar. And on half, I chat with him about YouTube, what goes viral, how it goes viral, and how sports can leverage it. But first, here's my chat with Francis Leach on ABC Grandstand.
Sean Callanan's the Sports Geek from Sports Geek HQ, sport in the digital realm each Saturday morning. Good morning, Sean. How are you going?
Good, thanks, Francis. Yourself?
I'm well. I've been at the cricket. Life's pretty good. And there's nothing quite like the Ashes to send digital media and social media into the red zone home field drive. Isn't it incredible?
Definitely. I mean, we spoke about it when the Australians were in England and the shared experience of following Ashton Agar when he was batting. But, yeah, it just goes to another level when they're in our own backyard.
There is also a bit of a battle going on in terms of sport being delivered on different platforms, and cricket's right at the heart of it, and the ABC's been at the heart of it too in terms of old-fashioned negotiating rights for radio, but new cricket apps, new platforms for content delivery and ball-by-ball description. The landscape is changing so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I've been sort of tossing up this one last couple of days, thinking about what to discuss. You know, here at the ABC, and yeah, there is a bit of dispute on the rights of one broadcasting the game, and then also where those rights sit in the digital space, and sort of where do audio rights and the radio rights sort of sit. So at the moment, you know, if you want to listen to ABC, you listen to it via the Cricket Australia app. And so that's partly a play to make the Cricket Australia app a little bit more premium. It's a data play. You have to register to get it.
So do you have to pay for access to...
No, you don't have to pay. You just have to sign up. So you have to offer up your email address or sign up with Facebook or Twitter. So partly...
Can I ask, what? Because we see a lot of that now.
Yeah.
I know that the News Limited news delivery platforms on tablets also ask for email address, but they ask for Facebook and Twitter handles. Why do they ask for those? How are they leveraging, say, your Facebook profile or your Twitter profile in order to get access to their content?
Well, I guess first of all, it's a data capture mechanism. So they want to get your email address to be able to communicate with you. And so Facebook and Twitter logons do allow that to be far quicker and easier. Some people find it easier.
Much easier.
The thing is when you're doing it with Facebook especially, you potentially are giving up more than your email address because you're giving up some of your demographic information and like where you live, your age, and potentially some of the things you like, depending on what the app asks for. So, you know, the ease of use and the convenience, you're also paying up with more of a privacy and information about yourself. So that's why a lot of the apps, it's effectively becoming a pseudo paywall to say, well, if you want our data, you know, you hand over some of your information. My thinking, I was doing a little bit of looking, and cricket's not the only one that does this, the paywall thing, but also the radio rights must be streamed through our app.
The AFL do
it. The AFL do it as well. So it's not, I'm not pointing the finger at cricket. But But the thing is, to me, that, and other leagues have done it, have restricted the rights, but they've sort of gone by the wayside because they've all moved towards a video product, and they've said that's the product they're trying to go with. So if you look at Major League Baseball and the NFL and the NBA, and we've had Richard Clark and the Arsenal player, they're all trying to drive you to watch the content on their device or on their platforms. And radio's sort of in the middle, caught in the crossfire to a certain degree, and to a certain, I used to listen to NBA games on radio, on audio via streaming via the NBA side, and it does make it easy. If you're a fan, you don't know where to go. But the problem is that they've sort of dropped those rights, and they've sort of tried to push everyone to a video product, which is where this Cricket Australia Channel 9 application, it should be really trying to drive people to watch TV. And subscribe to that product.
Does it deliver live visual streaming of the games?
Yeah, so
at a price.
At a price. So I think it's $20, which is relatively cheap. You can
for the whole summer.
For the whole summer, I think it is. And again, I should have checked, but so you can watch it live, Channel 9 on your phone. Again, the other problem that because it's now a Channel 9 and Cricket Australia application and not a telco, if you have to pay for the streaming of that video.
And that's important because then you start to pay huge download rates and it'll choose up your data allowance, whereas I think the AFL or one of the had a direct relationship with Telstra. So what the action there was, if you subscribe to Telstra, say for your iPad or tablet subscription, then you get unmetered access, do you not, to... And
Correct.
So they partner up that way to try to drive in a win-win situation.
Yeah, so that's where it's a little bit of a battle. Are you going to open up your phone and watch it while you're on the tram and chew through your data and not be able to, do things at the end of the month? So, to me, I think, when you're building a mobile app, you need to have a strong sense of purpose. And to me, at the moment, audio seems to be a throw-in to make a stronger feature set. And really all they've done is, upset a rusted on fan base in the ABC land. Whereas they should be building an app that says, oh, it's alerted me there's a wicket, I've got to turn on the TV, or I've got to open up and watch that clip of that wicket, have a really strong focus. And at the moment, that's where I don't think it has, because there's lots of apps out there. And especially from a mobile point of view, you want to be able to get in and out, get all the scores, get all the updates, get the thing in 30 or 40 seconds.
Particularly a sport like cricket where it's played over a long time. So there might be an hour or two where there's nothing happening of specific interest. But if you're given a notification that pops up on your phone saying wicket's fallen, you can go bang straight away, see the video cut, and you continue to have access to the narrative of the game and be involved.
Yeah, and so that's I guess that's a challenge, because there will be multiple apps. There's the Cricket Info app, there's the ECB have got their own app, got Cricket Australia, and there's multiple options for the fans. So you've got to provide something of difference, whether it's, we're pitching this as a TV companion while you're watching, or we're pitching this as, you are overseas and you want to watch the game, then you would pay for that product. At the moment, I think, at least in the Australian sort of space, they're sort of trying to put as many things in the app as themselves, when really it would be better to have everyone who listens to the cricket on ABC Grandstand to be able to consume it as they do every other part of the day, and get them engaged in social and get them to watch the TV. Because if they watch the TV, they'll find out about the app, and they'll find out the app has these extra features that adds to that experience and not just replaces if you're not at a TV.
Sean, another sort of social media phenomenon was saying goodbye to Sachin Tendulkar, and the BCCI in India, given his enormous profile, basically ran their goodbye campaign via Twitter.
Yeah, it was a strange one. I think it's probably still turned on. If you send a tweet to BCCI with the hashtag "Thank you Sachin," you would get a tweet in return from BCCI saying, "Here you go, Francis. Here's your signed autograph photo from Sachin," and they effectively take your name and have a little message and an autograph from Sachin.
I can see yours here. Sean, Thanks for all your support, love and prayers. Sachin Tendulkar. So they've just got an electronic autograph that they've applied to the photo. But what a nice touch.
Yeah, it is a nice touch. I guess the only thing is the amount of tweets. I mean, Sachin Tendulkar, it got a little bit spammy in the fact that anyone that tweets, so execution-wise it could have been a little bit better, but, for the BCCI, and Twitter, who are trying to grow the game and grow the awareness of Twitter, it worked really well. Like, stacks of people now following BCCI, and it was a really, the Indian fans who love their cricket, and obviously bow down to Sachin Tendulkar, thought they were effectively getting a message from God. So,
And
that's...
indeed they were.
Indeed they were. So, really effective in that way.
They'll have to go up on the office wall.
Yeah, exactly.
At the Sports Geek HQ. Thanks for coming in again.
No worries, Francis.
Sign up for Sports Geek News at sportsgeekhq.com/sign up now.
So what's your take on live radio? Should it be something that leagues and teams should hoard away as part of their digital assets so they could fill out a mobile app? Now, this wasn't really a direct assault or an attack of any kind on Cricket Australia. A lot of teams and leagues have done this around the world. But as everyone is moving to video, those radio rights, at least the digital forms of those radio rights, is lessening. So to a certain degree, I'm actually leaning towards the ABC in this case. I guess the ABC is a special case in that they have a really old, rusted-on demographic that were quite vocal and complaining about not getting access to it and having to go through a new app. Everything that we've been doing around social networks, whether it be Facebook and Twitter, is always about going to where the fans are. And this is a case of taking away a platform where the fans are, and that platform is the current radio network. So I think the main thing would be to build an app that has reasons for the fans to be there. And so in this case, the fact that it's a Channel 9 and a cricket partnership, they should be really pushing towards that video component. And so audio just becomes an add-on in that instance. So for mine, I would be dropping audio from all apps because I don't think it is something that fans necessarily want to be consuming in large quantities, and you don't want that to be the only reason that they're downloading your app. Also, a few other notes on the thank you Sachin tweet using Digigraph. BCCI did gain 100,000 followers over a couple of days. However, they did have to tweet 150,000 times over the first 3 days of the campaign in replying to all the absolutely avid Indian cricket followers. My main issue is, as more fans followed BCCI, more fans would have seen BCCI tweeting back to all the fans. So it would become that's where I think it becomes very spammy. If you don't quite understand the idea around @replies and who sees them and that kind of thing, I'll share a link to a slide presentation from Gary Vaynerchuk that really goes through and explains those basics of @replies and who sees them. The main issue is that anyone who follows that account will see that @reply. And so in this case, as the BCCI get a bigger following, these kind of campaigns won't become quite spammy. So I think there will be some tweaks from the guys at Digigraph to sort of reduce that. But obviously it was well received. My thing is just that it was a little bit spammy. But up next, I sent half an email in the morning and it wasted his whole morning. It's full of YouTube clips. Here's my chat with Half.
Sean Carolan, our sports digital media guru for SportsGeekHQ.com.
The only place you want to go is SportsGeekHQ.com. Sean, g'day.
G'day, Huff. How you doing?
Going very well, thank you. Very well indeed. Just tell me about YouTube. You sent me an email this morning with a lot of clips that I spent a lot of time watching and diverting into other clips as well, funnily enough.
It is a bit of a time waster, but I guess some of the opportunities that are there from a sports point of view are getting your content out to that platform, because it is the platform that people want to consume their video with. And some really good examples just in the last week that have sprung up virally out of YouTube in the world of sports. The first one was, and you might have seen it, it was a Boston Celtics fan dancing in the stands to Bon Jovi's "Living on a Prayer."
Yes, my word, I have seen that.
That's actually video. That's an old video, and someone actually just picked it up, built a bit of a site around it, and started seeding it with the social, with Facebook and different social networks. And it's got that many views in the last about 10 days that Bon Jovi's "Living on a Prayer" has re-entered the top 100 at Billboard in the US.
No way.
So it just shows the power of the viral video. And it is a very tough brief. Someone comes along and says, build us a viral video. That is a really tough brief to do. But what you've got to do is keep producing content that has the opportunity to go viral and then take advantage of it.
Yeah.
So another one that's gone viral in the last week is the Detroit Pistons dance team with the kid and the dancing usher. The dancing usher is a guy that dances each week at the Pistons facility. You can follow him on Twitter, the dancing usher.
I'll be right.
But there was a bit of a dance-off between the two, and that's gone viral. But what they didn't do was, it's sort of gone everywhere, but what they didn't do is said, come back to the Detroit Pistons and buy a ticket or promote the rest of their content.
Yeah.
They just sort of let it go.
Opportunity missed.
Definitely an opportunity missed, but also, I guess the other opportunity missed, and it's partly because it's caught up with digital rights of match footage and things like that, is that there's a lot of restrictions on a lot of teams on what they can and can't put on YouTube because it's not their primary channel. And to me, I mean, that's something I think that's just a flaw with the rights holders in that they should be like loosening up their rights a little bit just to let more content reach YouTube. You don't have to put, I'm not talking putting full matches and full highlights and everything on there, but the more you can put on there, the more opportunities people will subscribe to your YouTube channel. You have opportunities to monetize your channel and those kind of things, but you have an opportunity to then drive these fans back to your platforms to watch your video players and watch your content. That's the opportunity. So there's, from a YouTube, if you're looking at sports on YouTube, a lot of it is non-match footage unless it's a league-based thing. So the NBA will put out small snippets on YouTube, again, to allow it to go viral, to make it easy to share.
But isn't the best way to do it, to get the viral stuff going, is to make it a little bit quirky, a little bit left of centre? And the NBA have done that recently with the Jingle Hoops one, where all the stars are shooting the nets that have been tuned with bells, and you play jingle bells every time they hit
exactly. So it does fit for that quirky video. So you've got to, and advertisers are doing it all the time. So they're not worried about where the content goes. They just want the content out there. So, if you would have seen the Jean-Claude Van Damme Epic Splits Volvo commercial, like they put that up. It's got 51 million views so far on YouTube. So that's far better than, we haven't seen it on Australian TV, but a lot of people in Australia would have seen it. So, and the thing is, you can, if you're agile enough from a sports team point of view, you can leverage that kind of thing. So the Dallas Mavericks grabbed the Van Damme video, they put Mark Cuban's face on Jean-Claude Van Damme, and they branded up the trucks, and they put it out to their fans, and they got, I think, 30,000 views. But again, their fans were like, "Hey, that's cool. You've taken your own take on that content." So that's the opportunity. And then when you do get it, it's a matter of, hey, send the people back to your site to buy tickets and all that kind of stuff. So
that's
the opportunity.
YouTube. That's why it is a great forum for that type of thing. If you want to find out how better to use it, particularly if your AFL clubs and NRL clubs and A-League clubs are listening, go to sportsgeekhq.com and you will find out how to get in contact with Sean. Thanks, Tom.
Cheers, mate.
Check out which teams work with SportsGeek at sportsgeekhq.com/clients.
There you go. I'll have links to all of those YouTube clips in the show notes so you too can waste about an hour watching some really cool YouTube clips. 3 steps that you need to do when you do get a viral video. You definitely want to annotate. Use the annotations in YouTube to add a prompt to subscribe to your channel and or a link to some of your other better videos. If you can keep people on your channel for longer, then obviously the likelihood that they will stay and connect with your content is obviously better. The second one is a little bit of a sports geek trick and a little bit of a hack, is to add a call to action on your video that effectively puts an advert on your video back to your properties. So in the case of the Detroit Pistons, they could put an ad on their video that says, buy a Detroit Pistons Game Pass, whatever it is, and they've had 7 million views. They could have had a few click-throughs to buy some tickets. The way you go about doing that, because you don't have a call to action on a video naturally, promote the video with a Google ad campaign, and you can do it for $1. But once you set up a video to be promoted, because you're paying Google to promote that video, you get the option to put your own call to action, which says drive back to your site. Now, go back to the campaign. You can pause that campaign. You do not have to actually pay that $1. So there you go. I've given you a trick and I've saved you $1. But it does allow you to have that call to action back to your site. I'll link to one of the Sports Digital Revolutions videos that I've had up for a while that has a link back to Sports Geek. And then the other thing is, and I say a lot of teams miss the boat on this, is add links in your description back to your properties, back to the website article that it was from, back to your social properties, to your mobile apps. Again, if it's getting a lot of eyeballs, give them a place that they can go. So you can do that once you find out that a video is going to go viral. But what can you do before that? Always remember your branding. You know, as I said on the on halftime, I didn't think the Detroit Pistons video had enough Detroit Pistons on it. If you didn't know it was the Pistons, you just saw it in your feed, you wouldn't know. So always make sure that you can put, whether it's pre and post or TV bugs kind of things on the video, make sure people know that it's your video. Make YouTube a viable channel. Yes, I understand the rights holders and the restrictions that most teams have, and most people use it as a secondary channel, but make sure it's a viable channel. Make sure you keep putting content through it. It's something that you really want to be active with your Google Plus page and really connect those two up. And always promote that subscription option. If you get someone to subscribe, they will get it reminded with emails followed up via YouTube. And it starts keeping in their stream of videos they should be looking at. And as I said before, with annotation, it is your friend. The more videos you can annotate, the more you can link. Some of the channels that do it very well. I really liked the work that Grantland did with its previews. I thought it was a really great job. And speaking of viral videos, stay tuned. A little over a week, a side project. If you've been following my Twitter, you would have seen #SAMP or #SuperAwesomeMicro Project. Check out superawesosemicroproject.com. It's a project that I've done with 40 other people. I'm a patron of it, and we've come up with a follow-up project to the Lego Space Shuttle, and I'm really excited about it. We taped it earlier today, and the video will be out soon, so keep an eye out for it. I hope that it will go viral, and we're doing everything that we can to do that. That clock there is to remind me to dedicate this episode 27. You can get the show notes at sportsgeekhq.com/27. I had a lot of good nominations. Glenn Jakovich from the West Coast Eagles in the AFL, Carlton Fisk from Major League Baseball, Steve Atwater from the NFL, even Casey Stoner, Australia's own MotoGP champ. But I could not go past this nomination just so I could say his name, Zaza Pachulia. That's right, 2 Z's. That's how we say it in Australia. I'm dedicating this episode to NBA basketballer Zaza Pachulia. This week's social media post of the week. I really like the fact that the NBA really got on this very quickly. Dwayne Wade did a cartwheel video bomb, and the NBA were able to quickly put it up as an Instagram video, and it got twice as many likes as other posts. So it really shows the viral nature of Instagram, and the fact that if you can get that video up very quickly, you will be rewarded. This week's Sounds of the Game, again, is from the NBA. Russell Westbrook hit a absolutely stunning game winner the other night against Golden State, and kudos to the NBA. Talking about YouTube earlier, kudos to the NBA. They actually showed that clip on YouTube and shared it on social networks, so it made it easy for that clip to go viral. But what the Oklahoma City Thunder also did is they embraced the footage that fans took on the night. And so the Sounds of the Game this week is exactly what I want all of you to do. Take your phone out at a game and record the sounds. This fan was lucky enough to be sitting courtside in the very corner that Russell Westbrook took that shot. And this is what it sounded like. Very cool video. I want to see more teams really embrace that fan content. It was really great to see the NBA and Oklahoma City not to take that fan video down. And again, if you take your phone out and record some audio or some video, please send me a clip. I'd love to include it on the show for the Sounds of the Game segment. And that wraps up another episode of Sports Geek Podcast. Again, thank you for listening, whether you're doing it on iTunes, Stitcher, Player FM, We're uploading the back catalogue up on a SoundCloud. Please let me know what platforms you're using it on. It's even on the Windows Phone Store. You can always get me via Twitter at SportsGeek or at Sean Callanan. I'd love to know when and where you're listening to the Sports Geek podcast. And also I'll include in the show notes the new Sports Geek V3s, the new My Adidas sneakers that came in this week. Very happy with the third edition of the Sports Geek company shoes. Closing 2 cents, you don't pick what goes viral, just make sure you're ready when it does.
Please leave a review on iTunes. Go to sportsgeekhq.com/iTunes. Find all Sports Geek podcasts at sportsgeekhq.com/SGP. On Pinterest, follow Sean on Pinterest. Pinterest.com/Sean Callanan. Listening to the Sports Geek Podcast.